Admiral Zexathara had witnessed 3 centuries of galactic warfare. Her chitinous exoskeleton bore the scars of countless battles, and her compound eyes had seen empires rise and fall across the star-scattered void. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared her for this. The Catherian hegemony had been locked in brutal conflict with the Voloxian Empire for over 2 standard years. Billions had died. Entire star systems had been reduced to cosmic debris. The war had reached a stalemate that threatened to consume both civilizations in an endless spiral of destruction. Then the humans arrived. Zexathara remembered the first diplomatic contact 6 months ago. The strange bipedal creatures had emerged from a previously unknown spiral arm, their crude metal ships barely registering as threats to either warring faction. They called themselves the United Earth Coalition and claimed to represent only a single world. One world. The very notion had been laughable. The Catherian Military Council had dismissed them entirely. The Voloxians had done the same. After all, what could a single planet species possibly offer in a conflict between galactic superpowers? The humans had requested mediation rights, offering their services as neutral arbitrators. Both sides had refused. That refusal, Zexathara now realized, had been the gravest mistake in recorded galactic history. The human fleet that emerged from hyperspace was modest by galactic standards, perhaps 300 vessels. Their designs were angular utilitarian, lacking the elegant curves of Catherian bioships or the intimidating bulk of Voloxian dreadnoughts. Intelligence reports suggested primitive fusion drives and kinetic weapons, stone knives and bearskins, as one analyst had quipped. The humans broadcast a single message across all frequencies: "Cease hostilities immediately. This is your only warning." Admiral Zexathara had laughed. So had Fleet Commander Drax of the Voloxian Third Armada. 2 massive fleets, each numbering in the thousands, had been battering each other for months in the Nexus sector. Neither side would yield to a handful of primitives. The humans waited exactly 1 standard hour. Then, they attacked. What happened next defied every principle of space warfare that Zexathara had learned in her 3 centuries of service. The human ships moved differently. Where Catherian vessels flowed like living organisms, and Voloxian warships advanced in rigid formations, the human craft seemed to dance. They accelerated and decelerated in patterns that should have liquefied their crews, turning on axes that defied the laws of physics as she understood them. Their weapons were unlike anything in the galactic arsenal. Instead of the elegant energy beams favored by advanced civilizations, humans unleashed storms of kinetic projectiles that moved at significant fractions of light speed. Worse, these projectiles seemed to possess rudimentary artificial intelligence, adjusting their trajectories mid-flight to compensate for evasive maneuvers. But the truly terrifying aspect wasn't their technology, it was their tactics. Every species in the galaxy had developed warfare along predictable lines. You protected your valuable assets, minimized casualties, and sought decisive engagements when you held clear advantages. War was about resources, territory, and strategic objectives. Humans apparently had never received this memo. They fought like the universe owed them a personal debt. Their ships didn't retreat when damaged. They accelerated toward enemy formations, ramming through defensive lines while their weapons continued firing until the very moment of impact. Pilots ejected from crippled fighters only to use their personal EVA suits to board enemy vessels, somehow surviving in hard vacuum long enough to cause internal explosions. Admiral Zexathara watched in growing horror as human corvettes, no larger than her shuttlecraft, engaged Voloxian battleships and won through sheer audacity. The humans seemed to possess no concept of self-preservation, yet paradoxically, their casualties remained mysteriously low. Then she witnessed something that would haunt her dreams for decades to come. A damaged human destroyer, its hull breached, and atmosphere venting found itself surrounded by 6 Catherian heavy cruisers. Standard protocol demanded surrender. Instead, the destroyer's captain began broadcasting what intelligence later identified as music, specifically something called sabotage, by an ancient Earth group called the Beastie Boys. The destroyer then proceeded to single-handedly Eliminate all 6 cruisers using tactics that no sane strategist would have approved. It used its own venting atmosphere as a smokescreen, played dead until enemies moved into close range, and somehow managed to detonate its own fusion reactor in a controlled explosion that vaporized the entire Catherian formation, while the destroyer itself escaped in the confusion. The human pilot's final transmission before disappearing into hyperspace was simply, "Later, losers." Within 4 hours of engagement, both the Catherian hegemony and the Valoxian Empire had lost approximately 40% of their combined fleets, not to superior technology or overwhelming numbers, but to what could only be described as weaponized insanity. The ceasefire came exactly 4 hours and 17 minutes after the humans had issued their warning. Admiral Zexthera found herself in the unprecedented position of co-signing a peace treaty alongside Fleet Commander Drax and a human representative who introduced herself simply as Captain Sarah Chen. The human appeared to be barely out of adolescence by galactic standards, yet she negotiated with the casual confidence of someone who had just demonstrated that her species could obliterate both their civilizations before lunch. "How?" Zexthara finally asked as they concluded the treaty. "How did you achieve such impossible results?" Captain Chen smiled, an expression that Zexthara had learned to find deeply unsettling. "You guys fight wars like you're trying to solve math problems. We fight wars like we're trying to win them." The human paused, then added with cheerful menace, "Also, we really don't like bullies, and you were both being bullies." As the human fleet departed, leaving behind a galaxy forever changed, Admiral Zexthara made a note in her personal log. "Recommendation for High Command: whatever the humans want, give it to them. Also, never, under any circumstances, start a war when humans might get involved." The Galactic Council would later designate humans as an protected arbitration species, though the protection everyone understood ran in only one direction. The war was over, humanity had spoken.